All right, so once again, thanks everybody for being here today. Exciting topic. Going to go through a variety of different vertical industries, kind of show you ideally how to build Grandstream solutions just from a pretty high level within those within each vertical, and then for most of the verticals, we'll also give you some examples of actual companies that deployed Grandstream products within that vertical industry. And as I mentioned earlier, all of the success stories that we're going to cover here today are all available as as case studies on our website, which you can download and read and get more details on. So let's get started. So again, one of the, a lot of companies know Grandstream, or a lot of people know Grandstream traditionally or primarily as an IP phone manufacturer. Certainly we are that. We're one of the, now according to Frost & Sullivan, we're the third largest manufacturer of IP phones in the world. However, over the last 10 years or so, what has been really kind of the driving force of our growth here at Grandstream has been the wide range of solutions that we have surrounded our IP phones with. We now provide over 80 different products, ranging obviously from IP phones to video conferencing solutions, to door access devices, to intercom and paging devices, to PBXs, to Wi-Fi access points and management systems, to cordless devices, to desktop video solutions, and I'm leaving out a whole bunch within that. So literally every type of product or management system or application that pretty much any business needs to put in a communication solution, we offer. It is truly one of the most unique things about Grandstream. You'll find a lot of the companies we compete with, there's a lot of the other companies in our industry today kind of specialize or focus on certain product types, and we have made it our mission, and we do provide a full solution of business communication solutions. So with that kind of being the thesis here today, let's start and look at some actual examples. So again, going to start off with small to medium-sized businesses, which quite frankly is traditionally our largest user base, our largest target market is that SMB space. So as we go through some of these slides and go through the different industries, you'll kind of see that we're starting at a more kind of simple, basic deployment here, and as we expand through enterprises and multi-sites and education and certain other verticals, they'll get more and more detailed, and you'll have more products surrounded by it. So the first thing that kind of, in my opinion, really is what I call the anchor of any Grandstream solution is our UCM series of IP PBXs. That UCM acronym stands for Unified Communication Manager. This device is traditionally not what most people will think of when they think of a PBX, which still many people think of a voice manager, essentially, when you're talking about PBXs. Our UCM series, which is available in pretty much two different model series, the 6200 series supports either between 5 and 800 users. The 6510 supports up to 2,000 users. These devices are true unified communication managers. They don't just give you access to a fully enterprise-level voice platform, but they give you access to full access to build and integrate video solutions, data, mobility, a wide variety of physical security as we go through and talk. You'll see that as well. So those devices are, in my opinion, truly the anchor of a lot of these types of solutions. Our 6202, for example, is a PBX that supports up to 500 users, and it comes in at an MSRP of, I believe, it's either $399 or $499, and that's the MSRP, so you can imagine that the actual channel pricing is a little bit lower than that, and you get a fully functional unified communications manager for just that price. Obviously, the price goes up a little bit as features and capacity increase. But the UCM series, you're going to see it on most every slide here. It gives you full access to voice, video, data, and mobility features, literally thousands of them. We don't ever charge licensing fees on any of our products, but especially PBXs, which people are used to licensing fees on. You're going to get full access to the thousands of voice, video, data, and mobility features, fully customizable for just a one-time upfront purchase price, and we're constantly coming out with firmware upgrades that essentially adds more and more features to those devices. Before I kind of go into some of the devices around the UCM, I should also point out that everything that we make, every product, every endpoint, is open source SIP devices. So I'm talking a lot about our UCM series, and I think that those of you that have used it probably, I'm sure, understand how powerful and flexible devices these are. But I do want to point out at the same time that our devices are open SIP and will work with any hosted SIP, basically any SIP service or SIP platform, hosted, on-premise, whatnot. So now that we've kind of talked about the UCM series, which you're going to see on most of the slides as we go, let's get specific here on the SMB space. For desktop IP phones, traditionally now we're seeing a lot of deployments of our GXP 1600 series, which we call them our basic IP phone series. Those are devices that are going to start in a retail price range of, I believe, around $40 and up for the various models that really just give you very, very easy to use, very streamlined, very affordable devices, basically for locations that need access to VoIP or need access to SIP accounts, but really don't need any advanced features. So for an SMB, for most workers, you're going to see a 1600 series is really kind of a great device for those. We also have our GRP series, which we'll talk more about as we go. The GRP series I think are really popular, or going to be more popular for specific deployments where businesses really want to customize the endpoints that they have. Our GRP series allows you as a reseller or your customers to customize the faceplate on those devices by putting your logo on it or putting the company's logo on it. It offers one streamlined series of devices that essentially ranges from basic 2-line devices all the way up to a 16-line device. Various phones within the GRP series have features like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and support for a lot of different digital BLS speed dial keys in them as well. So the GRP series is another great option for SMBs for desktop phones, allows you to customize the device, allows you one series of devices, as I mentioned earlier, common look and feel, ranging from 2 all the way up to 16 SIP accounts that all share the same firmware, which especially for an SMB, makes it a lot easier to manage if all of their devices are running on the same firmware. So that's your traditional desktop phones for the SMB space. Moving up to mobility, variety of different mobility options that we offer. You can, obviously, the device on the far left down there is our Wi-Fi, our WPA20, which is our cordless Wi-Fi IP phone. Soon will be joined by a WPA10 a little bit below it, and a WPA50 as more of a ruggedized version that's coming out next year. But for an SMB space, to enable employees to move around the office and take calls wherever they are, which is always especially important for an SMB that doesn't have the manpower and essentially needs to make sure that they're taking and able to take every call that comes in. You have the ability to deploy a DECT solution with our DP series of DECT devices. You also have the ability, especially with, obviously in the office nowadays is going to have a Wi-Fi network set up with our cordless Wi-Fi devices, which frankly is even a little bit of a step up and a little bit of an improvement from the DECT devices, really just in terms that you don't need to install DECT base stations everywhere, that they're going to work off of, the Wi-Fi phones will work off of the Wi-Fi network that you already have in place. In terms of video, a lot of SMBs are looking to get into implementing video into their communication mix. We offer really a couple of different products that I consider to be great entry-level video devices, video conferencing devices, video collaboration devices. You have our GVC 3210. So actually, before I go into the specific products, all of our video devices are Android-based devices. Our GVC series and our GXP series of desktop video phones. So any of these video devices allow businesses, especially SMBs, to utilize a SIP platform that their clients might be working off of to do SIP-to-SIP video calls, and obviously our UCM and pretty much most SIP platforms anymore are going to support video. Because they're Android, it also allows you to hold video conferences through Skype and Google Hangouts and stuff like that. So we have the 3210, the device you see on the left there. That is a 4K video conferencing endpoint, full support for Android. It's an all-in-one device that has speaker and microphone built into it. So again, as a 4K Android video conferencing device, just easily sits very easily on top of any TV. Comes in at a sub $1,000 MSRP. The other devices, hopefully you're familiar with our GXV series of Android IP video phones. Those are great desktop options. The way I like to describe those is it combines a 16-line IP phone with a multi-platform video collaboration solution, essentially any SIP platform or any Android platform, with the functionality of an Android tablet, because those are open Android devices. You get full access to the Google Play Store, can download any apps within that. So really a powerful productivity manager, but because those devices also have HDMI input and HDMI output, they're really good entry-level video conferencing devices for small conference rooms or for huddle rooms. You've got a camera on the device, you do HDMI output to the TV, and there you go. You got a little conferencing solution set up there. I'm going to talk a little bit more about our Wi-Fi products as we move forward, probably in later slides, but as hopefully many of you know, we do have a full portfolio of Wi-Fi solutions, both our GWN series of Wi-Fi access points and our GWN cloud free Wi-Fi management system. So with the very easy to install devices which come in at great price points, allows businesses to implement very powerful Wi-Fi solutions, and with our GWN series, and we'll talk more about this later, implement Wi-Fi solutions that are actually that enable you moving forward to implement truly wireless communication platforms with desktop phones and with other devices. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. Yeah, so that's just kind of a quick little SMB example. I went into a lot more detail on kind of explaining some of the products, and as we go, I won't on every, now that I kind of gave you a background on some of those, we'll really just kind of talk about how each one of those differs or how the use differs for other verticals. So that's, a typical SMB deployment. As I mentioned earlier, really our target market and really the biggest the biggest section of our user base is the SMB space. So now to just give you kind of 3 real quick success stories within the SMB space, and as we mentioned earlier, you can go to content.grandstream.com/case-studies. It's the URL you see on the bottom there, and you can download the full written version of all of the case studies, all the success stories I'm going to talk about here today. With that, I'm going to move through these a little bit faster than I usually would. So let's start off with the left here. Prestige Executive Suites. They are a managed office provider in Australia for, think a Regis type company, just obviously on a smaller scale. They run, I believe it's 2 or 3 different offices throughout Melbourne, Australia that they offer to business customers to use as, rented or managed offices. The thing that they were looking to do was to peer all of those offices together to add video support for conferencing and for video calls, something that they can offer their business customers, add data support, the ability to record calls, the ability to get statistics and analytics on and in real time on what's going on with the system, while also cutting costs. And you'll see that is a pretty common theme with a lot of these success stories we're going to talk about. They ended up deploying our 6510, a variety of 2100 series devices, a variety of 1700 series devices between their offices. They reduced call costs by 50%. They increased their network speed by 20 times, which I actually had to double check to make sure that was right, and it was. It created a variety of automated functionality which allows them and their clients to handle more customers, more calls, and while also making much easier system changes through our very easy to use web user interface. Royal Gold in the middle there. They are an agriculture retailer in Bangladesh. I believe they had 4 different offices throughout Bangladesh. They were looking to replace a Cisco call manager, which they did with our UCM series, our HA100, which enables you to peer 2 different UCM 6510s together so that in case one device goes down, everything will default to the other, adding a major level of redundancy, which you're going to see on a lot of the case studies here. Deployed a variety of 2100 series models, 1600 series models for general office workers, WPA20 for workers in their warehouse, GVC 3210, and our IP Video Talk video conferencing platform in their conference rooms. They were able to eliminate all licensing fees, cut call costs by almost 50%, added a scalable platform because of those UCM devices that are able to be scaled up. By actually implementing 2 of them, they're able to scale all the way up to 4,000 users if they wanted to. Also saw a major reduction in IT time and IT cost. The far one on the right there is a newer one that we just published, Nice Limited, a construction firm in India. They were looking to upgrade to VoIP. They were actually using an analog platform. They needed to support more callers, be able to integrate and communicate better with the video security devices they had while also offering greater mobility. Actually, they had a separate GSM platform they were looking to integrate with a VoIP platform. So they integrated our UCM series, our GXP 1625, for office workers, a variety of Grandstream IP cameras, and Grandstream Wave specifically, which allowed their mobile, anyone outside the office on any smartphone to access their SIP accounts right on their smart devices. So 3 quick SMB success stories. I realize that I am probably spent a little bit more time on that section than I thought. So we'll move a little bit faster as we go through, but to read more and get more details on any of these or a variety of other success stories within the SMB space and others, go to content.grandstream.com/case-studies. You can download the full version of any of these. So now I'm going to kind of transition over to enterprises, which you see here, and multi-site businesses, which are often pretty similar. On the next slide. So obviously you have the UCM device right at the top. As you just saw in some of the SMB examples that I gave, one of the greatest things about our UCM device is that you can peer multiple ones together so that you can essentially have a redundant or a shared or a distributed network while also using while also being able to use one centralized device to access multiple sites. But if you have multiple UCMs because you need to support a lot of different people, they can be peered together, and it's essentially as if they are the same network. So our GRP, now when we get into enterprises, I talked about the GRP series and the customization and the fact that they offer a full one series of devices that kind of suits every type of need from basic all the way up to high end with customizable faceplates and a really, really sleek new design. The other thing that goes along with that is our Grandstream device management system, which has been in beta since earlier in the year. It's going to be officially announced soon. That is our free centralized cloud device management system. Allows, obviously works great with the GRPs or any of these Grandstream products that you see here. And for enterprises, the GDMS is great because it allows them to have not just a platform that allows you or those enterprises to truly deploy these devices in true zero-touch fashion, to plug the phones in, they shoot back to GDMS and automatically configure, or that can be done in the factory before they go out. But it offers an ongoing management, diagnostic, monitoring, analytical tool to manage an entire platform so that through GDMS you can always find out what's going on with the platform, get real-time stats and analytics, set scheduled tasks, receive real-time diagnostics, have GDMS and be able to solve a lot of those troubleshooting or diagnostic issues, whatnot. On the video side of things, we have I mentioned the GXP video phones before, great enterprise, really great for executive users or any, salespeople, anyone that is keeping in touch with a lot of people and the ability to kind of have that that video desktop element without having to take up an entire computer screen is a really powerful thing. We also have our GVC 3200 series, which is the 3200 and the 3202, which are great mid to larger conference room devices. Those are also Android-based devices. One of the great things about those GVC 3200 and 3202 devices is they actually are able to host conferences themselves. They have what is called an MCU built into them so that you don't need a third-party host or anything like that or any type of separate platform. These devices can host either a 9-way video conference through SIP or a 3-way video conference through SIP with the actual conferencing device itself doing all of the hosting and doing all of the mixing. Talked about the mobility options previously. Again, it's, especially with these large enterprise offices and multi-site, which you'll see on the next slide. I think the whole cordless Wi-Fi phones really become really powerful because you don't have to install DEC base stations all over the place. You have the Wi-Fi network already in place, covering literally most of any enterprise office, and you can roam freely with these cordless Wi-Fi devices anywhere within those settings. Networking. We talked a little bit about that on the last slide. Our GWN series of Wi-Fi access points. Here I'm going to specifically kind of introduce the GWN Cloud, which is our free Wi-Fi management platform. There is no limit on the amount of access points or networks that you can use, or sites or subsites that you can set up with GWN Cloud. It's great for an enterprise, or in that it allows them to build out, especially if you have multiple offices, multiple different sites, to have each network be able to be managed separately, while also enabling you to, for example, enable an IT guy on that site or a reseller handling that site just to be able to have access to the access points and the Wi-Fi networks on that site rather than through the entire account. To go off on that, the Wi-Fi management platform, I should have mentioned this on the last slide. Our GWN series really is able to be scaled ideally for any SMB all the way up to an enterprise. And one of the main reasons ways we're able to do that is through the flexible management functionality that we offer. You have GWN Cloud, which I just talked about, unlimited, great for larger companies, enterprises, multi-sites. If you're installing less than 50 Wi-Fi access points, all of our GWN series APs actually have a full controller built into their web user interface. There's no extra cost for this. There's no extra software or fees or anything. Just built right into the user interface of any GWN access point. So for an SMB, for example, all they have to do is install one GWN and use its interface to build out the rest of the networks and the access points for their network. When we get in enterprises here, we're also talking a lot about facility access, our GDS series of door access cameras, which enables businesses of really of any size to basically have full control over who's able to get in and get out of the building or any specific room within the building. We have our 3710, which you see there, which has a camera built into it. We also have a 3705, which is just an audio-only device. All of these support PIN codes, RFID fobs, and chips. In addition to, obviously, ring or doorbells and whatnot. Really allows you a lot of different options in terms of how to let people in. So you can give employees and anyone that you want to be able to access it either a PIN code or an RFID card or fob that they can get in. Everybody else can, you can, through a variety of ways, probably most popularly the doorbell button, have to request access. And all Grandstream phones are actually enabled right out of the box to be able to open doors through just a soft key connected to GDS series device. Nothing you have to do to set that up. We also have our GSC series of intercom speakers, microphones, and public address devices. There's our 30, I believe, it's the one device that is both a speaker and a microphone, two for two-way communications, and another device that we're calling just a public address speaker, as it's just a one-way device. Those devices work on Wi-Fi, so they're very easy to be installed, allows you to very easily put in intercom or public address networks, while also being able to stream music or whatnot through that in common areas or hallways or busy working areas, whatnot. So obviously, as we talk about enterprise, kind of take a little bit of a step up here in terms of more functionality, more communications, more need for mobility, more need for cloud management, more need for physical security, a little bit step up in terms of the video. I'm going to, basically in the interest of time, I'm going to pretty much go through this slide here. This is multi-site. It's really, honestly, exactly the same as the enterprise. Here we're just showing a VPN connection to peer the two sites together, or a UCM to peer the two Wi-Fi networks together, or a UCM that's able to be peered between two or more sites, or have UCMs at each site that can be paired together to basically create the same virtual network. All right, so enterprise success stories. Two different ones that I will highlight real fast for you. And again, you can go to the URL you see on the bottom, download the full case study, and read more about all of these. These are two companies I'm sure that pretty much most people have heard of. Grant Thornton, they're the 5th largest accounting financial consulting firm in the world. A couple of years ago, they built 14 brand new offices throughout India that they were looking to input on the same network to replace the Avaya PBXs that they were previously using at each site. They put in UCM 6510s, variety of them with HA100s, connecting them so that if one device went out, lost connection, lost power, whatever, it would default to another, which was traditionally in another location. 1600 series devices as really easy to use desktop phones. 2100 series devices are GXV Android video phones for those that needed to keep in touch with clients and customers. And the result for them was one combined platform that all those 14 offices could work on that gave the ideal phone for every type of user while also adding desktop video, building a centralized, scalable, and redundant network. Ricoh, over on the right-hand side there, they're obviously one of the largest electronics manufacturers in the world. A couple of years ago, they were opening, I believe it was 4 different offices throughout the Asia-Pacific region. They were specifically looking for mobility support. They also needed their entire platform for all of those 4 offices to be installed overnight. So they implemented our UCM 6510 with HA100s for high availability, GXP 2100 series, a GXW 4108 to be able to integrate their previous analog and GSM platforms. And specifically, they implemented Grandstream Wave, which is our free softphone application to allow their employees to be able to call and have access to their SIP account from anywhere on their smartphone with Grandstream Wave, while also by integrating GSM with the UCM through a variety of gateways, they were also able to have any mobile calls coming in forwarded to the VoIP or sent out through their SIP platform. In the end, creating a scalable, redundant platform that offered a couple of different options to support remote and mobile workers. All right, let's move on to hotels here. I believe have hotel and then have education, which is next, and those are pretty much the main ones that we were going to focus on today. I realize that I'm already going longer than I thought I would, so we'll try to wrap up here within the next 15 minutes. So let's move over to hotel. And hotel is a really interesting one to talk about, specifically because of the integration of property management systems, or PMS, which is what they're actually popularly called within our industry. So property management systems are used by most hotels to pretty much manage managed guest services for the hotel. Property management system is what essentially is for centralized software system which a hotel will track guests, track reservations, check-in, check-out, room clean, minibar status, wake-up calls, anything along those lines that you can think of that you're used to getting at a hotel. A property management system is usually utilized to do that. With our UCM series of IP PBXs, we offer integration of your VoIP system or of your unified communication platform with those property management systems. And this is frankly the way that most hotels manage a lot of their PMS anymore, is actually through the various communication endpoints on their network. So let me give you an example. To report that a room was clean or to report that a minibar was needed to be serviced, somebody will pick up a phone and dial a star extension to report that information back to the property management system. The property management system then also would be able to feed devices or phones in the room with information about the reservation, that's where things like wake-up calls would be logged. Definitely, if you're not familiar with it, go check out property management systems. They're pretty comprehensive platforms, and our UCM series is able to be integrated with them so that you can use Grandstream endpoints to feed information back into the property management system while also accessing information from the property management system. Our GXV video phones are great for hotel directors or security teams because inevitably you're going to have GDS devices or door access cameras, facility or IP cameras as well throughout the facility, and this allows you to actually make and receive calls from those devices while also, just adding that extra layer of security by being able to see the actual live feed, receive live alerts that show you the live video from those devices. Our GRP series, again, are great for hotels because they allow for example, to put their own logo on the device, and they give them one set of products or desktop phones ranging from 2 all the way up to 16 lines that allow them to deploy the right type of device at the front. Basically, the right type of having trouble talking for whatever reason today. The right type of device in any location for basic devices for front desk users, more advanced devices for directors or managers, while also having maybe more simple or mid-range devices in a business center. All of them sharing the same firmware, same look and feel throughout every phone in the hotel. Mobile staff, we've talked about Grandstream Wave, our free soft phone app. We've talked about the WP820 and our WP series of cordless Wi-Fi devices, which are especially great here for maintenance staff or for anyone that works at a hotel and is often moving around, again, because you're going to have Wi-Fi connection everywhere, and put this device on your belt and you can keep in touch with and be connected no matter where you are within the hotel. We have, as you'll see, actually on not the next slide, but the slide after, lots of different hotels across the world who have implemented our GXP 1600 series devices as hotel room phones. They're simple, they're basic, they have a small footprint on a device, have a small footprint on a desktop, and they actually look much better than pretty much any hotel phone that you'll see. GDS series, again, for private entrances, for freight entrances, for even things like, the pool, which might be closed, or the gym, which might be closed at certain times, or you only want people that are staying in the hotel to access it. They can use their RFID room card to be able to get in there. GSC series of intercom speakers and microphones for intercom and public address, which again, those devices can support Wi-Fi, so they're very easy to install and add to a network. So there's a real quick overview of a hotel deployment. We actually have a variety. I think it's 5 or 6 different hotel case studies up on our website. These are the 3 most interesting, in my opinion. I'm actually, just for the sake of time, probably going to, well, we'll just go through it. So Accor Hotels, which I'm sure most people have seen or are familiar with, they're actually the largest hotel group in the world outside of the United States. They have 4,500 hotels in 100 countries around the world. They were looking to, they basically, I believe it was last year, began a project to upgrade the legacy systems that they were using in every hotel around the world, starting with their flagship Paris location. They were looking to put in a fully digital open source SIP platform with video, data, and mobility support. And they were able to do that with a Grandstream solution that was basically our UCM series with 2100 series phones for staff, 2100 series phones for staff, as well as GXV video phones for staff, 1600 series phones in every single room, GAC 2500s in their conference business center. I actually have pictures of this, which I'll show you in just a second. And as I mentioned, went into a bunch of detail on property management systems. They were able to combine the property management system they were using with the UCM to really create an integrated management and communications platform. The Swiss Spirit Hotel, I'm going to, the big thing to mention there is that they were actually using an Oracle PMS, property management system, which is one of the most popular ones in the world. Obviously, everybody knows Oracle. We're fully able to integrate that to fully control it through the UCM series and the Grandstream devices connected to it. The Hotel Estancia Real on the right, that is specifically a Wi-Fi network, actually, that they implemented using our GWN series. It's a 5-star hotel in Jalisco, Mexico. They were looking for more powerful, more secure, better roaming, and low maintenance, not just for their 9-floor hotel, but they also had a conference center, business center, where conferences were held, where obviously they needed to be able to support a lot of different clients in one location at any point in time. So with implementing a Grandstream Wi-Fi solution, they were able to create platform that can be centrally managed through the controllers built into the user interface for any of our access points. And they were able to build a network that is able to access speeds of up to 2 gigabits per second while supporting up to 250 clients in any location. So here's some pictures from the actual Accor hotel deployment. Again, this is their flagship Paris office. I believe off the top of my head, it is right by the airport in Paris. You see 1628s down in the lower left in rooms. You have GAC 2500s, our Android conference, audio conference device, as well as you see a GXP 2130 there in their business center. That is a GXP 2170 or 2130 in the top right there being used at the front desk. And you've got GXV 3240, our Android IP video phones, in down the lower right for staff in their offices. All right, so should be able to wrap up here in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Again, I've obviously going a little bit longer than I expected to. I do apologize for that. I don't have a specific example for retail stores, but it's always a really popular one that I like to highlight. A couple of specific things that I'll highlight here is really, again, using our GWN series to build out a Wi-Fi network, and then the WPA20 or a variety of our GRP phones at point-of-sale locations or with employees that roam throughout the store really enable you to build, especially for a warehouse or retail store, a network that really thrives on mobility, that allows somebody to put a Wi-Fi phone right on their belt, walk around a warehouse, walk around the store, simply connect to the Wi-Fi network that most businesses are already going to have in place to be able to put GRP phones, for example, at point-of-sale locations. Variety of those devices support Wi-Fi, don't have to run any wires out to a little kiosk in the middle of the store for example, you've got our GDS series for deliveries or for private entrances to the store so that only employees or staff can get in. You've got our GSC series to build a network of public address and intercom throughout a store, which, you know, aside from your traditional intercom or public address announcements, can also stream music and whole, you know, stuff like that. So that's just a real quick retail store warehouse deployment example. We actually don't have any specific retail case studies on our website, though actually I'm hoping to be able to schedule a couple early next year. All right, so this is the last vertical that we're going to talk about here today. Once again, I really appreciate everybody's time and patience here. Hopefully you're learn a little bit something here today that you didn't already know or may not have thought about before. So I'm ending on education, but education is maybe one of my favorite verticals to go through. For a variety of reasons, but actually primarily for the basically through the physical security, intercom, public address, door access part of it, which I'll go into in a second. So here we've got Android video phones, which are going to be great for principals or security directors or administrators, especially if you have a network of these up in different locations, allows you, or different classrooms or different rooms, actually adds an extra layer of communication. And for school where security is incredibly important, an extra layer of security. If you've got SIP cameras, these devices can also make calls to those SIP cameras or receive calls and see the live feed of the camera right on the device. Same thing with our GDS series of door access devices as well. You also, for main office workers or for classroom, main office workers, let's say there, our GXP 1700 series, GXP 2100 series, or GRPs are really great options there, depending on, how often the person is going to be on the phone. For receptionists, for example, 2170 is a great option. Our 2140, which pairs with the GXP 2200 extension module, is a great option. Our GRP 2614 or GRP 2616, which have two LCD screens and add a variety of digital BLF keys, are great options as well. 1600 series basic devices in classrooms to basically to add that critical voice communication, put a phone in a classroom, mainly for security purposes, but again also to allow you to communicate with it. I'm going to go over to the GSC series, the intercom speakers of microphones. Obviously, that is critical in any school that there be a public address or an intercom network from classroom to classroom, from the main office, to be able to make critical announcements, to be able to announce news or class changes or schedule changes or whatnot. In that GSC series, they work on Wi-Fi, again, very easy to install, optimized with if you're using our GWN series of Wi-Fi access points, you can optimize those devices to prioritize those critical voice or those critical voice communication through the network, or video communication through video devices, which enables you to deploy a lot of our IP or all of our Wi-Fi capable IP phones without essentially having to interfere with or basically without them having to be interfered with or integrated with the rest of the Wi-Fi network, our GWN series. Obviously not just in education, but in any of the verticals that we're talking about here today. I think we've done a webinar in the past on Wi-Fi or wireless communications deployments. You've heard a lot of our devices that I've talked about here today support Wi-Fi. So kind of the next generation deployment that a lot of businesses or even a lot of schools we've started to see are moving over to are those truly wireless deployments where it's all done through Wi-Fi. Phones just connect back to SIP accounts through Wi-Fi. You have cordless Wi-Fi devices. You've got Wi-Fi based intercom and public address devices as well. obviously the GSC series is not just Wi-Fi capable, but you give it a direct network connection, which honestly is probably how most people are going to use it. But again, gives you a very easy to use intercom network, public address network, and one of the great things about these devices is being SIP is that the only thing you have to do to make an announcement to any of them is to just call their extension. The other thing that I should point out here, maybe go into a little bit too much detail on a specific point, but because our intercom devices are SIP, traditionally one of the kind of fallbacks with intercom or public address is that you had to send it out to everything on the network, whereas which our devices are SIP, and obviously SIP is extension to extension, you can contact or pinpoint specific devices, specific intercom speakers, specific public address speakers, while also obviously building extension groups that allow you to communicate to all of them at the same time. This is specifically what I think has become, and what we have seen become one of the strongest points and one of the most popular points for why schools are starting to deploy Grandstream solutions. Essentially what you see here is a wireless facility access solution. So let me give you a story or an example here. You have a principal or administrator or security guard who is, often away from their desk, is moving around the school, is checking up on, different things, is sitting in on classes, solving issues, whatnot. They have a WPA20 here, for example, that they're able to move around with. And that WPA20, that cordless device that sits on their belt or that is in their pocket or that they carry around, gives you full ability to control the facility, the access to that, to basically any GDS device. In this case, you're, again, integrating your unified communications network, the communication network. You're putting our GWN series of Wi-Fi access points on that network so that they broadcast out the SIP accounts. And in this case, somebody gets to the front door, they hit the doorbell button to request to let in. That call can go into anyone with any of these devices, and as you see in the picture, they will not just be able to have a two-way audio intercom communication through these devices, but if it's a 3710 on most Grandstream products, including WPA20 as you see, you'll actually be able to see a live feed of what the GDS series device sees. So that not only can you speak with somebody, but you can actually see them before you let them in. This obviously is, the WPA20 is the best example, but this also goes to any of our other Wi-Fi devices. One thing I should mention, and I mentioned this earlier, is every Grandstream phone, whether it's connected to your, whether it's a Wi-Fi or whether it's utilizing Wi-Fi or not, they all have the ability to open doors right out of the box when they receive calls or make calls to our GDS devices. Nothing extra you have to do to set that up. It is configured and enabled right out of the box. You would just integrate that GDS series with a door strike or a door opening device. And whether it be a Wi-Fi device, which is what we're showing here, which is great for mobility and great for ease of deployment. Obviously, this whole thing can also work through your traditional wired networks as well. All right, last thing that I will have for you here, and then we'll go into the question and answer. Again, apologies for the going a little bit longer than I expected. Appreciate your time and patience with us. So again, last slide here, our education success stories. The featured case study on our website for a little under a year now has been Semper Altuis, which is an international network of private schools in 18 different countries. They instituted or implemented Grandstream solutions in 13 campuses across Mexico. They replaced an Avaya PBX with a UCM series platform that offers them voice, video data, and mobility function, while also giving them the ability to support analog, SIP, E1, T1, J1, all on the same network. Our 6510 supports E1, T1, and J1 networks. Gave them the ability to frequently customize and change IVRs, auto attendance, send out announcements to parents. Obviously for schools, that's incredibly important. Also, you know, cost is incredibly important. And as I mentioned, none of our products require any licensing fees at any time. So they were able to eliminate licensing fees and also build a really powerful Wi-Fi network that is actually able to prioritize their voice and video traffic through their VoIP network so that critical calls that come in or need to go around the facility are not competing with somebody using Angry Birds, for example. And you're able to use the QoS feature on any of our GWN series of Wi-Fi access points to tell the device to prioritize voice or video traffic, a variety of other things as well. Network of peered UCMs throughout the entire schools, creating one centralized virtual network, variety of endpoints, talked about the GWN series, all in all, creating an integrated, centralized, peered, scalable, and redundant solution. Voice Connects, over on the right. This is, I think, the first US-specific example that we've had here today. Voice Connects is actually one of our largest resellers in the United States. They are a reseller and system integrator down in Missouri, and their major client base, I believe the majority of their business, are done with public school districts throughout the state of Missouri. We have a case study up on our website about the initial solution they built. We're actually going to update it next year. Because they have, as we've come out with more and more products, our Wi-Fi phones and now our GSC speakers and microphones, they have integrated those and continued to expand what they're offering. But essentially what they did was they built a completely Grandstream scalable solution for school district deployments. All of their deployments are centered around the same set of devices, our UCM series, 2100 series model, 1600 series in classrooms, GXB series for security principles, WPA20 for anyone that's mobile, combined with the GDS series of door access devices and GSC intercom, speakers, microphones to add that layer of security. And they essentially go around and take the same solution template and deploy it in a variety of school districts throughout Missouri. The last time I spoke to them, they had 15 different school districts that they had put this solution into in Missouri, continually expanding as well. So yeah, that's a couple of education success stories, and just like any of the other ones, you can go to content.grandstream.com/case-studies to find out or to download the full version and learn more. All right, so that wraps up what I had planned here for today. Again, I obviously went longer than I had thought. I do apologize for that. Thought there was a lot of interesting, obviously we could talk about a lot of this stuff for a while and go into a lot more detail than we did. So hopefully you learned a little bit something new here today, or kind of some ideas popped up into your head. I'm going to disable what you see up on the screen now. You're going to see me pop back up here in a second so that I can go through any questions that did come in. Once again, appreciate you guys kind of hanging on and staying for the end. It looks like many of you did, which is awesome. So just bear with me here for a second. So you're not looking at nothing. Nope, that's not what I want to do. I want to require, there we go. All right, I'm back. As you can see, looks like my hair got a little messed up as we were going through there. Let me go through and look at questions that came in. If you do have any questions, feel free to shoot them over. I'm just going to read the questions out loud and answer them. Most recent question, are surveillance cameras still supported? Yes, they are. I know that we used to have a whole portfolio of them. I believe we're down to 2 or 3 models at the moment. You're actually going to see us, I believe, next year release a couple of additional models, new IP cameras. So those are not going anywhere, though we haven't come out with a new model in a couple of years. We're going to still keep supporting the models that we have out or that we have sold in the past. I believe we're still currently making 2 or 3 models, and then we're going to add another 1 or 2 next year. question about how efficient is the CDR reporting versus Cisco Call Manager and the CRM? I'll be honest, I don't have any specific experience working with the Cisco Call Manager, but we do offer the CRM that's built into it. I can tell you because I have in our UCM series, it's going to give you pretty much everything that you're looking for. Excuse me, CRM. Wow, I'm getting a bunch of different platforms here confused. So in terms of, let's go one by one here, the CDR, the call detail records that's built into the UCM interface, you're going to get access to everything you're going to get on any other manufacturer CDR. Full access to the call recordings. We offer one-touch call recording, full stats, the ability to export the reports, the ability to schedule the reports to go out on a set schedule that you might want to set. So on the CDR side, you should see pretty much everything that you're used to. CRM is a good question. I definitely should have mentioned this at some point in time, so that's my bad. So our UCM, we have tested and have full integration with Salesforce, Sugar CRM, and a couple other ones. Those are the two that I remember the most. Obviously, Salesforce is the biggest CRM or the most popular CRM in the world. So our UCM is fully compatible with Salesforce and Sugar CRM specifically. Gives you the ability to feed information that might come through the VoIP system, customers calling in, back into the CRM so that the two sides can kind of be in sync and share information. Yeah, there was a point about any success stories for the U.S. Certainly the majority of the ones that I kind of promoted here today are more internationally focused. I believe the only U.S.-specific one was Voice Connect. But at the same time, the United States specifically is, or we'll say North America, it's right up there with Europe, Middle East, and Africa as our biggest sales region. So to be completely honest, from a manufacturer standpoint, especially here in the United States, because there's often so many different resellers, distributors, integrators, service providers involved in a lot of these deployments, it's a little bit harder in the U.S. oftentimes for us to kind of get access to and find out what how the products are being deployed. But as I mentioned, we're usually publishing 4 or 5 new ones every quarter. We actually, the last slide that I flipped over, just in the interest of time, is actually a IT consultant down in Canton, Texas, who switched all of their Wi-Fi deployments, all of their networking deployments over to our GWN series from the brand that they were using, and has achieved a lot of success on that with their business customers, with their government customers, and with their hotel customers. That's SysLogic, actually. It's a reseller down in Canton, Texas. It's one of the case studies that you can find on our website in the networking section. A couple of comments on NVRs. Well, I'm sure that essentially we did used to make an NVR, a couple of them actually. Stopped getting out of that. Mainly the reason is because we were finding that a lot of our customers were using essentially and makes sense, right? There's a handful of very well-known, very popular NVRs out there. And so what we kind of did is begin to focus more on making sure that our cameras are certified or can be integrated with popular third-party network video recorders. So as we start to roll out some new cameras, you'll certainly see that from us too as well, announcing what third-party NVRs they're compliant with. We actually do offer, it's something that we've had out for so long that I often forget about it, software called GSUR Pro, sorry. It is a free VMS recording, basically security network video recorder. It is a PC-based software that gives you a PC-based network video recorder or centralized kind of alert and video security solution. It's a free product. I believe it supports up to a couple of hundred cameras, specifically works with Grandstream cameras, I should point that out. So that is another option that you actually have right now for NVR, if you're okay with using it connected to or integrated on a PC. Check out GSurf Pro, you can get to that. If you go to the support section on our website, click on tools, you'll see GSurf Pro there. Okie dokie. Looks like that is pretty much all of the questions that have come in to this point. I will hang around for a couple of minutes and answer any other questions that may come in. But for everyone else, that's pretty much that's it for today. Appreciate you guys taking some time out of your busy schedule. Especially, we know it's a very busy time of year, Thanksgiving, the holidays coming up, so we're always thankful that you take some time out of your busy schedule to learn a little bit more about us, a little bit more about how you can utilize Grandstream and our solutions. So if you have any other questions, I'll hang around for another couple of minutes. Feel free to type them over to me. For everyone else, thanks for being with us here today. I know we have, I believe, another webinar with NTS Direct coming up in exactly 2 weeks from today, so that would be, let me just look at that off the top of my head. That would be what, Thursday, November 21st. I honestly forget what the topic is off the top of my head, but I'm sure the same email that you signed up for this or found out about this probably will have information about that webinar on the 21st, or you'll be hearing from NTS Direct about it soon. So we hope to see you on the 21st. And for everyone else, once again, thanks for being with us. Have a great day. So regarding GSurf Pro, it is correct that it is not being developed. There's no more additions. There's no more upgrades that are coming out. However, the product, it's still available for download on our website. We have a product page for it. So though you are correct that technically it's not being upgraded anymore, the software still available for download, still free, should still work. And my understanding is also that we would, if you have any troubleshooting issues or anything with it, that we would support that. So hopefully that helps with that. But as I mentioned also, we'll be looking to, and I think we actually have a section of our website, if you go to partners, video surveillance partners, that will list a lot of the major third-party NVRs that our devices should be compatible with. All right, guys, looks like that's it for questions. Once again, thanks everybody for being here. We'll send you the recording, probably get it next week. And for everyone, hope you all have a great Friday and a great weekend.